Hello and welcome to my country garden. We're on the 15th of March and it is a glorious day. And today I'm turning my sights on potatoes. Now I'm sorry for the squinting because there's a great big ball of light up in the sky. It's fantastic. So I'm going to be putting in my first earlies today, but I'm not going to be sowing them in the way that I usually do, and that is plonking them into 30-litre pots. I'm going to be starting them in a slightly different way. Then I'm going to be showing you a very special potato. It's a variety you may not have heard of, and this is one that I saved from my potatoes last year. But first, I am going to sow some potato seed. Now, I don't mean seed potatoes, I mean potato seed. Now, I'm not complaining about this glorious sunshine. It just makes it a little bit more tricky when I'm trying to film to actually not be completely washed out or blinded by the sun as I'm filming. So I'm actually sitting next to a tree. So we'll see how this goes. But let me show you my potato seeds that I'm going to sow. It's a potato variety called Clancy. And it was sent through to me by Robin from Robin Gardens. And she's doing a grow along, so there's a whole bunch of us that have these seeds and we're going to see how we get on. Now the seeds themselves are, or were, coated in a sort of coating. I don't know whether it's clay or what the coating was, but so there were little balls rather than little tiny seeds. Unfortunately, in transit, the coating of the seeds has basically broken down. So I have, as I'll show you, I have basically a packet of powder at the moment. So what I'm going to do to sow them is just I'm going to sprinkle the powder on top of, I just have a quarter seed tray, and the quarter seed tray's got compost and vermiculite mix. It's moist. I'll put the seeds and the powder mixture on top, and then I'll cover it with vermiculite, and then I'll take that indoors. They want about 18 degrees C to germinate, so I'll pop it in the propagator just to give them a little bit of heat until they come up, and then I'll make sure they're under lights until they grow into little robust seedlings. Then I'll start the process of transplanting them through a couple of stages through pots till we're at the point where we no longer have any frost up here in Scotland. So that'll be May time, and then I can get them out and get them growing on. So all very exciting. Thanks so much, Robin, for sending me these seeds over. I'll keep you updated as to how we get on. Okay, so here is the quarter tray that I am going to be sowing into. I cannot see a thing, there we go. And now I did open this up because I wanted to see what this was like, but it is literally just a powder. If you can see that. So I can't really see any seeds in it. Now hopefully I haven't lost them all. So I'm just going to put the powder in here. Open this out. Now I see one thing that might be a seed. I just hope I haven't, because I did pour this out into my hand earlier. I just hope I haven't lost them all. But anyway, I've put the powder into the seed tray, and hopefully there is a seed or few seeds in there. I'm just going to put a tiny amount of vermiculite on top since it's all very small. And that's us. This is going to go indoors, and hopefully we'll find something has actually germinated, I hope. So, potato Clancy, this is hopefully going to be. Okay, let's have a look at the seed potatoes that I'm going to be starting today. The variety that I'm growing for my first earlies is Rocket, and I've got 10 little Rocket seed potatoes here that I've been chitting for a few weeks, and you should be able to see, hopefully, the chits. There's nice short chits on each of the potatoes, which is great. Now, usually what I do with all of my potatoes actually is I just pop them in 30 litre pots, fill up the 30 litre pots, and that's it done. But I'm starting these a touch earlier than I normally would have, so I want to be able to pop these into the polytunnel and to be able to easily cover them if there is a frost once they start coming through. So what I'm going to do this time, and I won't do this for all of the, for the second earlies and for the main crops, but what I'm going to do with these is I'm actually going to sow them one to a pot in this sort of small sized pot. I don't know what size it would be. 1 litre perhaps. Does it say on it? Quite small anyway. And I'm going to have one potato in each. I'll show you me actually popping a couple of the potatoes in just so that you get the idea. And once I have got these sown, I'll give them a very light watering. They don't need much at all. And then I'm going to pop them in the polytunnel to grow on from there. Okay, so I'm going to take my little pot. I'm going to pop some multi-purpose compost in the bottom. And I'm then going to take a seed potato, making sure the chits are upwards, and I'm just going to sit that down in the pot, like so, and I'm just going to top it up. This compost is completely dry, so I am going to just give a touch of water. Probably get away without even doing that until they start growing, because the potatoes themselves have moisture in them. But no, I like to give them just a little touch. So, next one, seed potato, sit it in the pot, top it up, and repeat. Okay, that's them all done. See them there? Whoops. So, that's me. You've got 10 little seed potatoes, each in their own pot. I'll give it a very light watering. I'll take this down to the polytunnel, and that's where they will stay. They should be okay, even if it is frosty, until their shoots come out, and then I'll be very particular about popping some fleece over them if it is going to be frosty. I will keep an eye on the old weather forecast. Once these have actually germinated and we're getting small plants in the pots, then that will be the point where I will start putting them into larger pots, and I probably will put 2, perhaps 3 of the plants into a 30 litre pot. And then they will grow on in the 30 litre pot until I harvest them. Okay, I want to introduce you to this potato here. The variety is Manitou. It's a red-skinned potato that is a main crop, and it is really, really versatile. Chipping, boiling, mashing, roasting, etc. And I can confirm these are gorgeous potatoes to eat. Love them baked, I have to say. So, I took part in the Single Seed Potato Challenge last year, which is run by Steve from the Digwell Green Fingers channel. And this was the potato that we had to grow as part of that challenge. So the idea with that challenge is you are given a single seed potato, you don't know the variety at the point, and then you've got to see how many potatoes you grow from it. So Manitou was last year's variety, and from a single seed potato a bit like this, I grew, wait for it, 55 pounds of potatoes. So 55 pounds in weight of potatoes from a single seed potato. And I was really chuffed. I didn't win. I did not win the challenge, but I was more than happy with my result. So I have been eating my way through these potatoes through last year, and into this year, and I kept 4 or 5 of them to sow and grow this year for, you know, a crop of these because I really like them so much. I'm taking part in Steve's single seed potato challenge again this year. We've got the potatoes and I'll be making videos about that shortly. I don't know what the variety is again on that one. But I'll pop a link in the description to Steve's channel because he's got all sorts of great stuff on there, and you'll see lots of other people getting involved in the single seed potato challenge. But for me, this potato, this Manitou, I am going to grow this in a particular way that is not normal. And it's sort of getting on to how I usually grow my potatoes in the single seed potato challenge. But for today, I'll show you what I'm going to do with this one. And what I'm actually going to do, you'll see that there's hopefully, lots of chips on this potato. I'm actually going to chop this potato up. And I'm probably just going to chop it up into 2 or 3 pieces. And these pieces I'm going to let dry for 24 hours. And then I am going to put each piece in its own little pot, rather like I did with the first earlies actually, and I'm going to grow them on in those pots until such a time as I can put them into the large pots that they'll finally grow in. So that's what I'm going to do with this guy. Let me just bring in a bit closer and you can see how I go about cutting this up. Oakley dokley, so here I have my seed potato and I'm just going to check out where the eyes are. I'm not going to, I mean in the challenge I would generally you'll be taking each of these eyes separately as separate plants, but just to give myself a few 2 or 3 plants out of this single potato, I'm just going to cut, put a couple of cuts in. So this is pretty much half the potato and it's got its own chit there. And then here I think what I'll do is I'll just cut down there, so we've got to have this one and these ones, and we'll leave it at that. There we go. So I now have 3 potatoes out of, 3 potatoes out of 1 if you know what I mean. But we have got cuts, so we've got exposed the flesh there. So I'm just going to let these dry off overnight so that it sort of dries, and hopefully then we won't run the risk of it going mouldy. Then I'm going to put these into pots just like I did with the first earlies, and again I will pop them into the polytunnel and grow them on in there. So I'll do that and I'll keep you updated as to how the Manitou here is progressing. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the various ways that I'm starting to sow my potatoes this year. Of course, with the methods I'm using, they're a bit more of a faff if you've got loads of potatoes to put in, and for the majority of the potatoes that I'm going to be growing, I'm not going to be cutting them up or growing them on in small pots or whatever. The first earlies is quite good to do that because it just lets you get them started a bit earlier, lets you get them sort of stored even indoors or in the polytunnel until they actually grow up and sprout and start becoming small plants. Because obviously if they're in smaller pots it's easier to manage them. So, and the chopping up of potatoes, I mean, it's not a new thing. I think some people do it as a matter of course. If they've got large seed potatoes, they'll maybe half it in 2 or whatever. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing for the potatoes that you've seen, and I will keep you posted as to their progress, and I'll also bring you along in the other ways that I'm sowing potatoes over the coming weeks. If you want to see my harvest video of the Manitou potato harvest last year, I'll pop it up I'll pop it up here now, and you can just click on that and you can see how enthusiastic and happy I was at my harvest. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. Please tell me how and when you're starting your potatoes, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye bye for now.